Hi, this is Pat Broderick. 50 years in the comics industry. That's what I've done. You're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
All the love right there for that sound.
His contribution is done. Finished.
Pouring it in the rest of the night.
No. You know, it's amazing how many different things are part of the show now.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if we do an episode without the woohoo, it sounds wrong. Not that we're going to, but it just sounds wrong. If it and take that to the sponsorship, there's so many things that we do each and every. You could say we're lazy.
No, it's a ritual, dude. We're ritualistic.
I guess. Yeah, I look forward to them. I'm hoping the listeners do as well.
Well,
Absolutely.
they keep coming
Yeah.
back. I'm sure, there's got to be a reason.
Well, it's not dear me.
I don't know about that.
True.
You haven't seen the messages, I guess. Shit.
Yeah. No, I haven't. But this, what you'll see you right now, is 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 1023.
Good Lord.
And I am Vince B.
Sure as hell are, Vince B. I am David A. Price.
I think that's true, but what's really true is that I'm Lee Harvey Oswald.
That, no, you're not. But thank goodness you're Jason Woo. Everybody together, thank you to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Cheapgraphicnovels.com is our main and only supporter. OGN Street Paperbacks, Omnibus Editions, DC's Finest, Marvel Epic Collections, art books, manga, you name it. If it has a spine, it's lower than retail. Lower than retail. And it's easy to say, right? A penny is lower than retail, but this is much lower than retail. They have a monthly special sale where they'll do a nick and a dent thing. They have seasonal sales. And if that wasn't enough, that would be enough for me. But Max is ridiculous. They also have specials.
Yes, they have specials. This week I picked 4, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain as I get into it. But first up, we have Cyberpunk Edge Runners Madness Volume 1 graphic novel for $10.49, an action-packed manga prequel to the hit Netflix anime series Cyberpunk Edge Runners, featuring fan-favorite characters Rebecca and Pilar. Rebecca and her big brother Pilar pursue their dreams of becoming legendary edge runner just like their father. And in Night City, where violence, greed, and corruption run rampant, they'll have to abandon who they once were and dive headlong into the mayhem where they'll struggle, suffer, and sow chaos everywhere they go. But when a mysterious man appears, the trajectory of their future takes a turn. Witness pure madness as they rush through Night City to prove themselves as edge runners, written by Bartosz Zybor, screenwriter for the Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime series, with art by Asano, known for the manga adaptation of Studio Trigger's BNA, Brand New Animal. DC Finest The Demon. I see. I knew you were going to enjoy that one. DC Finest, The Demon, Birth of the Demon trade paperback for $23.99. Jason Blood may seem to be a modern-day man with an unusual interest in demonology and the occult. But the truth is that Jason is in fact centuries old, and during the fall of Camelot, the wizard Merlin bound a powerful demon to Jason's soul. Now, whenever evil steps forth from the shadows, he need only say, "Gone, gone, the form of man, rise the demon, Etrigan." DC Finest, The Demon, Birth of the Demon collects stories published between 1972 and 1981 and includes The Demon, numbers 1 through 16, written and drawn by Jack Kirby, plus the Batman Family number 17, The Brave and the Bold number 109 and 137, Detective Comics numbers 482 through 485, and Wonder Woman numbers 280 through 282. Faster trade paperback for $15. Who truly knows what a premier racer is thinking while behind the wheel? The road? The shark they fought the day before? Their popularity among the other racers? We can only imagine the lives that play out on the speedway. Join the motley cast of racers in Jesse Lonergan's Faster, a visually engrossing display of racing and the people who can't help but race. Can perpetual runner-up Molly Vox finally pull ahead of Kona DeMille, the 5-time world champion? Find out in Faster. And finally, because this may have a follow-up later on tonight, Star Trek Deep Space Nine Omnibus trade paperback for $17.49. 3 graphic novels that let fans of the classic Star Trek series dive deeper into the world of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In Fool's Gold, the station begins to be overrun by thieves, treasure seekers, bounty hunters, and other assorted ne'er-do-wells. Major Kira and Constable Odo must find out why. Can they get to the bottom of it before the station's new visitors bring things to a boiling point? After this, return to DS9 in Too Long a Sacrifice as death casts its shadow on the station in this space noir. With a murderer on the loose, the inhabitants of DS9 start to divide into factions, made even worse when the Ferengi government gets involved. In The Dogs of War, an extremely rare purebred corgi from Earth makes its way aboard Deep Space Nine when Quark cuts a deal to procure it for a high buyer. However, all plans are upended when a crew member discovers a Borg component on the pup, collects the DS9 miniseries Fool's Gold, Too Long a Sacrifice, and The Dog of War, plus the short stories Latinum Glove, Mother's Walk, Frontier Doctor, Only You Can Save Yourself, and The First Year. Don't miss out on these exclusive Lost episodes celebrating the 30th anniversary of the fan favorite show Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Which I'm in the midst of watching.
That's why it's on here. We'll get to it.
My boo.
I have the Cyberpunk in hand, and it is beautiful.
I love it. I have Faster on the way.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And the demon, if the woohoo is a sound that my soul resonates with, the demon is the way he speaks is it does my heart good. I know, but yeah, especially Kirby. Stop. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. One more time for the people hiding back in cheap seats. We know we are. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Go there. Yes.
Or be square.
Or be square. Be really square. Yes. I'm drinking the old standby. But if it was based on years, this thing would be talking blue because it's 2020. That's
okay.
That's old, for the stuff that I usually get. It's Charles Double Trouble.
You went down to the cellar for it, huh?
He went somewhere. Yeah.
Dusted it off, man.
Yeah, it was all right. And
was the cork dry or was the cork wet?
The cork was wet. It's not a Syrah. It's a red wine.
Okay.
They changed the formula a bit to do a combo deal since 2020. I don't care. It tastes good to me.
There you go.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
on sale. I get 2 bottles.
Love it. That's what's up.
The
That's
quality
what's
right
up, man.
Yeah.
Quantity over quality. That's what's up. That's the best way to buy wine.
I don't, I don't care if you make fun of me.
I don't
That's
care.
good.
Listen, you're on your 19th life at this point. Just enjoy it, man. Live whatever makes you happy.
I don't really care.
Yeah. I unfortunately am not imbibing because, as I said a bit ago, I have to be in a car driving to the airport in about like 5-6 hours. So didn't want to get a buzz on. So plenty of time this weekend. Though I'm gonna go down to Florida to see my lovely wife, and more importantly, I say more importantly because I see my wife a lot, but to see my dad. I haven't seen my dad since June, so it'll be nice to hang out with him.
Love it.
Yeah.
I am having something from Fuerza. It is a 75% Monastrell with 25% Cabernet Sauvignon. And spent 12 months, a whole year, in premium oak barrels. It is it's pretty tasty. It's alcohol 14.5% by volume.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow.
I think this is one that was actually aged in a plastic. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
No, in a toilet. in a toilet.
It was siphoned
Yeah.
out of a Chevy.
In a keg.
I look for the bourbon barrel wines every week, and they just don't seem to have them.
Well, because that was a trend. That was. I mean, there are still bourbon barrel. I'm not suggesting that you still can't get them, but they were like hot. That was a hot trend for a minute. Just like it's just one of those things that gets hot for like a minute or two, and then people move on to another thing. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Now that is something. If you want to see real wine like snobs, like go crazy, talk to them about bourbon barrel aged wine. That's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of the comic equivalent. That's like people saying to someone that like Avatar is your not Avatar. What's the one that with all the porn comics, the porn cover comics? What the hell's the name of that?
Not Xenoscope. No. Boundless?
Well, no, Zenoscope. Yeah, Boundless is, but no, it's like telling people that Zenoscope's the best comic publisher.
Yeah.
It's like that's the equivalent.
Boundless is an offshoot of Avatar.
Okay, that's why.
Yes,
yeah.
So you still okay. I'm going to take care of a little business.
Business, a little business.
Yeah, I realize I'm lax, and first of all, I would like to say thank you. Very many thanks to Dean for at least noticing that I'm back and putting it up on Slack. And if you'd like to take a look at Slack, we can't help you out, but we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Comics, which is 2 tiers. 5 will get you the extra audio and Slack and the bunch, and 10. How does that work?
You almost had it right, buddy. 5 gets you the extra audio. 10 gets you the Slack.
Okay, so for $10 a month, you can be like Dean, and there are participants, and there are lurkers. It doesn't really matter as long as you enjoy it, and most of our patrons enjoy it. So
That's true.
Yeah.
A scientific study we did last year showed that 93% of our Slack members think it's the most important component of their lives. Now, that in and of itself may be sort of sad, but stats are stats, facts are facts. So
Yeah. And number 2, I would like to thank across the continent my brother Ray for hooking me up with not one but all of the Stickingers of Gore.
Oh, shit.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Now, some of them are dead, some of them are no longer with the band, whatever. But to get them all on one place in one time like that, it's amazing. So thank you, Brother Ray. And last but certainly not least, to go back to the Slack, Brother Mitchell had a neat thought, and I'm going to read verbatim what he wrote. Hey, fellas, here's a shower thought. Have you considered incorporating a few minutes into the show to discuss current solicits? That's a neat idea. He goes on to say, I recognize that Jason does an awesome and thorough previous job. That's up for debate. But it is not something that you choose to make the show. I was thinking new series, OGNs, or collections that are up for pre-order that month. Y'all used to do a few. CBS was your sponsor. I kind of miss that. Well, Mitchell, miss it no more. Because I have something that can be added to your order. If you didn't already, it's in this. It's in this month's previews. It's written.
Well, there's no previews, but
Well, you know what I mean.
in this month's solicit catalogs, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. There's so many of them. This is in DC Connect number 69.
Nice.
It's written. I don't know why. I've always been a fan of this character, but the writer, I've always been a fan of 90% of his work. I kept an eye on the other 10, but for the most part, I am a fan. I think he's a ridiculously talented writer, written by Jeff Lemire.
Oh, that would have been my pick if I did a DC one.
Yes.
Nice.
And with art by Rafael de la Torre, variant covers by Chris Burnham and Riley Rosswell. It is The Fury of Firestorm, number 1.
Love it.
I love Firestorm. I don't know why. If you ask me why, I would not be able to tell you. But the solicit goes something like this: the community of Bedford, Colorado, is a sleepy and small town. The people say hello to their neighbors, attend town hall meetings, and root for the local high school football team on Friday nights. But this idyllic small town is thrown upside down when the nuclear man arrives and starts, ellipsis, experimenting. Firestorm has turned buildings to sand and people to glass with no remorse and no warning. So, what exactly provoked Ronnie Raymond to commit this heinous act? And can anyone contain the fury that is Firestorm? Brought to you by blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think Remender, regardless, is on a tear recently. I think everything he touches has been great, and I do not see this being anything less than great. It's the Fury of Firestorm. They kept the name, they kept the costume. It's the old school costume. Yeah, I added it to my order. Too sweet. So
That's a great complete 180 from Jason's son Lemire last week.
It just goes to show.
No,
But
that's
no,
not true.
No, I know. No, I you know.
He's looking last week.
Oh, well, you mentioned JSA. You mentioned a couple of things.
No, you're confusing it. Last week I talked about Minor Arcana and how much I was thrilled to have reconnected with the Lemire I love.
Yes.
It was 2 weeks ago that I said that I really wasn't connecting with JSA or Phantom Road.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Both of which are great.
I was merging the episodes together, but I knew, yeah.
Yes.
I did remember the minor arcana. So,
But I am supremely excited for this particular issue because, unlike Vince, I have read very little Firestorm. Really, I think I've only ever read him in like team or like event books. But I've always thought he's a super cool character in concept. So I think this sounds awesome. Can't wait.
Yes, yes.
he's absolutely one of my favorite creations that Al Milgrom had a hand in. The issues penciled by Pratt Broderick were gorgeous back in the day. I was a big fan of the character. It was neat to see him in Justice League, of course, and Identity Crisis too. But yeah, he's always been a great character. Ronnie Raymond and Professor Martin Stein. It was just it was so unique, really. So I will definitely be checking that book out. I am liking the way the next phase, this all-in phase, is going, because obviously we've got Lobo and Destro coming, we've got Zatanna returning, obviously Firestorm, but I decided to go with a single issue. It's a 4-issue miniseries that I did not want to wait for the collection. This is well, basically one of the greatest stories never told. And that is Swamp Thing. Would have been number 88 at the time, but it's Swamp Thing 1989, number 1, written by Rick Veitch, art by Michael Zulli and Vince Locke. Shout out to Dead World. Covered by Rick Veitch. Over 3 decades, since the controversy and cancellation, Rick Veitch's legendary Lost Issues are completed after a renowned 2-year run on the series. Veitch's grand finale to Swamp Thing was cut short and never to see print. Whispers and leaks hinted at the epic Untold Saga for years. Now, for the first time, that final story is told. As Swamp Thing is cast back through time, he will come to meet a carpenter who will change the trajectory, just a fucking word again, of his life and the DC universe forever. The origin of Etrigan and Swamp Thing's journey to the beginning of time starts here. And that's going to retail for $4.99. It's a 32-page comic. It is a mini-series. So if you are a Swamp Thing fan, if you just want to get something that, was talked about when it was happening, and the comics world was quite stunned that Veitch was pretty much unceremoniously dumped from the book and this story because of that carpenter at the time never saw the light of day. I am really, really curious to see. I'm not worried about if it ages well. I'm not worried about it within the context of what else was going on with the book at the time. I'm just for historical context, for just scratching that itch for something that never happened before. I'm dying to see what this issue's about.
Interesting pick. I didn't even think I noticed it in the solicits. Yeah.
I'll wait for the trade on that, because I think it's gonna read better in one grouping. But I think it is a product of too little late.
Right. It's always hard to go home again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You're gonna read it and you're gonna be like, "This was worth Batman." That's why they dumped him, because of Batman. But it's Warner, so who can say? Maybe knowing Veitch, it probably is great. Yeah, but
It's a weird thing, right? Like, it's a kind of interesting. Not to derail. I don't want to go into a tangent during a new segment, but it does get me thinking about like this idea of nostalgia and how we long for it, and what a fine line it is, though, between something feeling like at its place in time and doesn't really work anymore versus something like we're happy to revisit. And I don't know that there's like a hard and fast like line in the sand. It's probably like your mileage may vary depending on what it is and how close you are to it. But like I do, because I think there's like I can think of tons of things as we're sitting here where I'm like, I don't like that was a thing in the moment. Like trying to redo it now is just a waste. Like Dap, what was it? I think Cliff brought up. I think is it the X-Men Australian stuff, right? Like they're telling stories.
Yeah.
I think that's, and it's like, and you know, he and Vander and Justin were like pretty excited about it, and I was just like, I like that bores me to tears, you know, because it's we've moved so far beyond that. But that being said, like, but there's nothing wrong with being excited about it. It's just for me, I'm like, But then there are plenty of other things, like, for example, the Energon Universe stuff with Joe and Transformers, where like it's kind of the same thing. Like they're going back to the well with stuff that like revisiting ideas from the 80s, but I just think for some reason that works for me because it's kind of new and it's energetic and it's a different type of vibe. I don't know. Like I guess maybe it's when you're trying to replicate like everything about something from 30 years ago, including the creative team and the art style and the exposition, then it feels like a try hard. Whereas if you're just like taking the ideas and modernizing them, then that can work. But your mileage may vary. I don't mean to derail the conversation, but yeah, that's interesting.
Right. Yeah.
I have no connection to the Veach Swamp Thing really, so but I mean, it's weird, right? That they're going back to the well. Like you always wonder how those conversations happen. Like where they're like, oh, we should, hey, like maybe we could finally put that Veach stuff out now. Like it's weird, right? Like who brought that idea up? Like did they have to fight for like was there any legal entanglements? That's interesting. Like the whole backstory is probably interesting.
Well, right. And then there's the fact that he didn't draw the entire thing back then. He finished it now. So
it is a. I thought it was just like stuff that was never published and they're finally publishing it. So it's modern. Okay.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it did. I say it all the time. He's the only one to work on Swamp Thing other than that can hold a candle to Alan Moore.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've said that before for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be great. But
nice. Well, I'm going to go to our friends at Image Comics. Friend of the show is back, and I couldn't be happier. We knew he was coming back because the last time we saw him at a con last year, he was very excited to show us some of the work and to let us know it was heading back. I am talking about Headlopper. Our beloved Headlopper is back. The comic is actually called Headlopper #1, but the cover indicia say Quarterly Adventure Comic Issue 17, Volume 5, 1 of 4. So, but you know, it's like it's both a #1 and a number 17, but it's a continuation of Andrew MacLean's written and drawn wonderful Barbarian series, which we have talked about many times over the years, and obviously it's been a long time because we haven't had any new Headlopper outside of that Agatha one-shot Kickstarter a few years ago to talk about. But the solicit says, celebrating 10 years, Headlopper's back. With the dark forces of Mung dogging their every step, Norgal and Agatha embark on a quest to find the heart of the demigod Sobeshk, the next name on Norgal's kill list. This is it's more of the same. Andrew's awesome. I love the concept. It's written and drawn by Andrew. He does the main cover, and there is a B cover by Mr. James Herron, both members of Team Felix. So yeah, super excited. And I guess the only thing I'm bummed about is the 1 of 4. I didn't know that it was only 4 issues. Hopefully he continues from there. But I'll take what I can get.
you are optimistic and shit.
I know. Well, listen, Headlopper's just about the smile on the face, right? Like big old Norgal just fucking chopping off things' heads. It's hilarious.
It is good. That's a series I read in trade, much like Kaya, and I've lived to regret it because it's too long to wait between issues.
Well, this is going to be quarterly, so you will have to wait at least a year.
Right. But that and Kaya, I wish I had more of it, you know? But whatever. The fact we're getting more is amazing. So yeah.
Nice.
I can't wait.
Excellent.
Y'all hopped up for that Mask series?
Oh, bro, what?
Yeah.
What? Bro, yeah. I am beyond giddy. Now, I'm legit interested to see if there's a big enough demand for a Mask series to like last. But in the meantime, I'm here for it. What Vince is talking about is, it's not it's not a complete surprise because Miles Mayhem has been involved in the Energon Universe comics in Transformers. So we knew that like the Mask Mobile Armored Strike Command was part of the universe, but yeah, it was announced that at Comics Pro for listeners that don't know is an annual industry conference focused only for retailers and the publishers. So like all the publishers, like Fleece is always there pimping his shit, but like creators go and publishers go to basically hype up retailers for their stuff, and to hopefully get them to carry their stuff. But anyway, there's always all the publishers go and they kind of do their own presentations for what to expect from that publisher that year. And Kirkman did the keynote. And during the keynote, he announced that Mobile Armored Strike Command will be the next big launch from the Energon universe of comics. And it's going to be written by Dan Waters, which we are all big fans of, Destro and Batman Dark Patterns. And it's going to, with it art by, I know Vince and Dap or semi-chubbed on this, Pi Par is going to be the first artist. And Pi Par, probably best known for Petrol Head, the Image miniseries from a few years back that you guys both loved. And I believe he did fill in work. I don't even know if it's a man or woman, but Pi did fill in work for New Gods as well. So I'm needless to say super stoked. I mean, Mask is admittedly a C tier '80s property, but it was definitely one of the ones that I loved as a kid. I love the toys. Again, for people that aren't familiar, it's basically a like an '80s adventure cartoon where good guys led by Matt Tracker had like funky helmets that they wore, and each helmet kind of had a superpower. And then they had vehicles which looked like normal vehicles, but then they transformed into more futuristic attack type vehicles. Like there's a green motorcycle that turns into a helicopter. There's a red car that turns into a jet, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a cartoon that was probably around for maybe 3 seasons. I don't, it wasn't around for that long, but it came out at a time when I was at the age where like I was super into that stuff. I had all the toys, and recently one of the toy companies just released a bunch of the vehicles and a redo, which I got. They just announced the Series 2 at Toy Fair, so. Yeah, super fun, man. Like it makes perfect sense to fit it into the universe, and given that creative team and that Energon universe has, the guys at Skybound have yet to screw up, I think it'll be fun at a minimum. I'm sure I'm far more excited about it than either of you, and that's okay. But it's no, I mean, but like I'm obviously excited. I treat this like I would when they announce a new Domino series. Like I'm gonna be super excited about it, hope it's good, and fully expect it to only last for like 6 months. But I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Right, like that'll be great.
There you go.
Yeah,
I saw it and I immediately thought of you.
Yep.
And I added it to my list based on knowing that number one, based on knowing that you would be reading it. Number two, Pipe Bar.
Yeah. Well, and I also realized that Kirkman is pretty much me if I was like insanely rich, because like he loves like Liefeld. He outbids me for Domino art, and he marked out about this. He said he loves Mask. He had all the toys. Like I was like, dude, this is just like me if I was worth $500 million. Like it's like Kirkman's just like he's me with money, like lots of money. It's great. So
Shake a chill puddle, Kirkman. Let Jason win on True Auctions.
he did let me get the one I wanted, which was cool.
There you go.
So, but yeah.
Oh, good God. I thought it was how do I phrase this? It was a great week for comics, but not necessarily great comics.
You mean this week?
Yeah. They were all
interesting.
They were all good, but they weren't great. So what is that called? Right? When all the comics were good, really, really good. Well, other comics I read, most of them were really good, but they weren't what I would call great comics, except one. It was a good week. It was a good week. You want to hear about one of them?
Absolutely.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. I always keep an eye on this character, especially when paired with other characters that I love, meaning Alpha Flight.
Oh, okay.
I've never read an Alpha Flight I didn't walk away from thinking it's either good or it's terrible.
That's true. I didn't know where you were going with this, but now I'm going to agree with you. Yes, I have intense, searing love for Alpha Flight at its best, and I have read a ton of really disappointing. My dick is limp Alpha Flight comics. So yes, I'm with you.
But there's a point to them being dysfunctional in these two issues because they're fighting Logan and they love Logan and Logan loves them. They don't want to be there, but three of Alpha Flight, Marina, Snowbird, and Puck are considered felons. Yeah, by the government. And, well, it's Wolverine 1516,
Yeah,
written by Saladin Ahmed. Not the hugest fan of Ahmed, but in my estimation, he's written more that I enjoyed than I didn't. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. What I really read for was the covers are done by Dan Ocean, who draws one of the, in my estimation, most beautiful women out there at the moment. Illustrated, this is why I bought it, by Mike Henderson. I think Anderson's incredible.
Yeah.
Color by Jesus Arbatov, and it's not really not hard to believe. Wolfern's in Canada. He's Canadian. With Silver Sable, training the new Morlocks to survive against Department H. See, the new Morlocks are, according to the Canadian government, are insurrectionists because they're trying to get on their feet, you know, and the Canadian government's not having it. No way. We're not doing this. They're seen as insurrectionists, and they send this Inspector Metra, Meta, Met, yeah. They send this inspector in, and a truncated Alpha Flight, James Hudson, who's Vindicator, and Michael Two Youngman, who is Shaman, flat out refuse. They're not going on the mission. They're not doing it, and more power to them because Wolverine has a whole bunch of friends. He doesn't have a whole bunch of close friends, and I think James and Michael can qualify as close friends with Logan. Heather's in a coma. So who do you have? You have Snowbird, Puck, and Marina. They don't want to be there. The only one who wants to be there is the new Vindicator, someone known as Arsenault, who likes wearing the suit a bit more than too much. So they try and clean up the mess with a few surprises along the way. Wolverine is stuck between a rock and a hard place. what this does, what these two issues do, basically, is emphasizes Wolverine's proficiency as a tutor. He's really, really good with the kids. Like, you would think that he's a killer, right? Wolverine is a stone cold killer. You piss him off enough, he's gonna take your life. And um, he's trying to keep these kids alive. On the one hand, on the other, he's trying to get in Silver Sable's pants. Who wouldn't? Yeah, it is what it is. There's some nice moments with Silver Sable. There's some nice new Morlocks. It opened doors that I thought were closed forever. Ape is back. Erg is there. Someone's called Chowdown and Deepfake. They were fun, you know. But like I said, I bought for Promotions covers, number one. Number two, I bought Mike Anderson's art. And I was not disappointed. Like I said, Alpha Flight is fighting at less than 50% capacity. Wolverine's not trying to kill them. He could have. Where the brother sister team is beyond me. But I enjoyed these two issues. So who can say they were bad things? They were good. Watching Wolverine 15, 16. I was stunned how much I liked what was there. Were they great comics? No. They don't have to be great. They cured what ailed me at the moment. Right? Sometimes that's what we need. Someone or something that scratches a very particular itch, like Wolverine. And there's a subplot, of course there is, that runs between the two issues. Someone is gunning for Wolverine.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Someone incredibly powerful who sees everyone as a inconsequential because he does not lose, and he hopes that Wolverine can put up a fight that'll sate whatever it is he needs sating, if that makes any sense at all. But the good stuff. Wolverine 5016. Jason's probably hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. I definitely didn't like it as much as you. I hadn't been keeping up with Wolverine the series, but when I saw that Alpha Flight was involved, I jumped back in and just read those two issues, and yeah, it didn't connect with me in the way it did with you. But I mean, I love the characters, so I mean, I'm not mad at it. Like it was fine.
It
But
was cool.
I'm glad you liked it.
It was cool to see Vindicator knock down a few pegs.
Yep.
And like I said, Penosian draws a beautiful woman. And he brought it on both covers.
He always
Like,
does.
Yeah.
I'm in the midst of reading Alice. That book he's reading for one of the indie publishers, Alice Forever and Ever. And it's really, really good. So I didn't bring it to the table, but there's a guy who can not only draw really well, but who can write as yeah, who can write. So
Nice.
yeah, I think Revolution is incredible. So there you go, Wolverine 15, 16.
Good looking family too, and always a pleasure to see at a con. Always very friendly.
This is true.
Extremely friendly.
Yeah.
And jacked up like crazy.
He's a stacked dude.
He is. Yeah.
Respect.
Yep.
So in the pantheon of things returning, I don't know how long it's been, but it feels like 7 years since we got a proper issue of Hyde Street because he was doing the whole
Seriously.
spin-off stuff and everything. But we got Hyde Street number 10. I don't remember how long it's been since Hyde Street number 9 came out, but it's been at least a year, right? I mean, I'm not imagining that. Like,
It's been a few months. I don't know about a year, but yeah, it's
Few months, yeah.
let's see. Hyde Street number 9 came out September. Okay, so it's been 5 months.
I was going to say summer. Okay, that's later than I thought.
Yeah, but that's not as long as I thought. What would you guys think? Well, let me say, the issue is essentially, for all intents and purposes, it is an origin story of Sisterhood, who was a character in one of the Hyde Street spin-off minis. Now, admittedly, I haven't read the Sisterhood stuff. I don't remember if it was a one-shot or a mini, but I didn't read it, so I don't.
A mini.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little puzzled as to, I would have presumed, perhaps incorrectly, that a Sisterhood spin-off mini would have covered her origin, such that we didn't need a whole issue of the proper to give us her origin. But again, I didn't read the mini, so maybe I'm totally off base there. Either way, now to be fair, it's not out of form for Hyde Street. Like, a lot of Hyde Street has been giving us the history of each of the residents, right? So that, I mean, it's not like he's breaking form here. But I mean, I got to be honest. I of all of the residents that we've gotten to know so far, I found her to be the least interesting. And I kind of felt like pretty anticlimactic because I was really looking forward to it being back, and which is not to say I won't be back for issue number 11. I will, but yeah, I didn't really think this didn't really light my loins on fire in the way I'd hoped to after the hiatus. Where are you guys at with it?
You're not alone. The Sisterhood and Good Body are basically racing for last place for me in my favorite zone of Hyde Street residents. The pros, the highlights of this issue did include more of well, not only did we get basically the origin of Sisterhood and her, well, not necessarily departed, but late sister, but also the scorekeeper. We get basically like full on image, first full appearance of this character, and the offer he makes to those who end up on Hyde Street, and the tease of the butcher, which will be in issue 11. So yeah, I mean, there was the bookend of the issue I appreciated. But yeah, to your point, I think it was as pretty as Portello's art can be. I think the meat of the issue was drawn out a bit. I would have liked to have seen more of her visiting the butcher and the matinee monster than reading more about the sisters. But it was fine. It was nice to have the issue back, and it looks like the original creative team will all be back for the next issue. So that should make this one easier to take. But yeah, it's a fine issue, but it didn't knock my socks off because basically of the star of the issue.
Yeah.
I guess I won't beat around the bush. I think Hyde Street took a nosedive.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're. Yeah, I was kind of
The
hoping once we got back to the like the proper series, it would feel like it did in the first few issues. But yeah,
the spin-offs are almost unreadable.
Oh yeah.
The first issue did not hold my interest. I thought it's got to be a me thing. Give the second one a try because maybe, for whatever reason, maybe I wasn't in the right headspace at the time of reading it. No, such is not the case. I think the spin-offs of Hot Sheet are junk, and it's having a negative effect on the series proper because it's just more junk, right? I thought the scorekeeper was neat, but the s- uh, j- no one. I shouldn't say this, so I won't. But I don't see how it benefits from an extra 4 issues or whatever it is somewhere else. If the sisterhood is that important to the story, tell the tale in Hyde Street.
Yeah.
It,
And maybe that was
it does.
another.
It,
Go ahead.
no, it's just really what do you need a miniseries for? It's just diluting what's already there.
And I don't. And I mean, I skimmed the first issue of that miniseries, and it didn't strike a chord with me, so I didn't continue it. But aside from that story taking eyes off the main book, if you're going to have a sisterhood miniseries, it's it almost feels like you're forcing the character down our throat by having the main book return with the sisterhood character. Like,
Yeah.
give us some breathing room. Give us some space from the character, and we can revisit it. Or if something major happened in that miniseries, and the people who read the miniseries in a couple of months when she appears in Hyde Street again, and then they're like, oh shit, that's a nice callback. Okay, then I missed out. But you're shoving sisterhood down our throats in a matter of a handful of months, and
Yeah,
it's
or
I need to come up for air.
or do it right the first time, right?
Yeah.
In the page Hyde Street. Like I don't understand. Other than employing more people, which is always a good thing. It is what it is. It's a good thing. Um, yeah, it's just bringing comics that very few people are going to read. I,
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good thing.
yeah. No, agreed. C'est
Yeah,
la vie, right? Can't all be
yeah.
bangers.
Hyde Street fell pretty quickly. It was neck and neck with my favorite of the uh, the Ghost Machine, and
Yeah.
every month or every couple months that it didn't come out, it just descended, right? And
Hmm.
then by the time it came back, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
Uh,
See, fickle. We're fickle.
yeah. Well, listen, we're old and crotchety. We like what we like, but it. I mean, it's not like, and this isn't the only Ghost Machine book. Red Coat, of course, is with Benedict Arnold is now is heating up. We've got the Northerner who's going to show up in Geiger. So yeah, I mean, I'm not. I didn't put all my eggs in the High Street basket, thankfully. So I mean, there's enough left
Yeah.
to go
I
around.
don't.
Oh, sure.
I don't look at it like that. If you're gonna
Take
publish
your
it
pick.
for a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you. Well, that kind of ties into something I read that I was really, really, really looking forward to. And Joe Illidge, who wrote one of the chapters in this book, was really urging fans to go out and get this issue. And apparently, I guess it leaked a week early on some of the pirate sites, so they were really hoping that doesn't put a damper on any sales. But if you pre-order, that it's no big deal. But the new history of the DC Universe, the Dakota Incident, was released this week. It's a one-shot, and it is, for all intents and purposes, the Milestone universe, or Dakota. This is basically a reboot of sorts, is what I'm going to call it, because in my headcanon is still the original Milestone. Those first 4 books that came out, one a week, with the polybag, with the Big Bang, and introducing Static and Blood Syndicate with those great characters, and of course Icon and Rocket and Hardware. So I mean, I can close my eyes and I can picture the origins of Milestone from that time back in the 90s. And Milestone has tried to come back here and there over the years, and it hasn't really stuck. But it looks like they're going to try something new, and they did. So it's broken up basically into there are 4 creative teams. It's not necessarily an anthology, but there's 3 acts and a prelude and an epilogue. But Joseph Pielage and Stephanie Williams, Morgan Hampton, and Nicholas Draper Ivy are your writers. Valentin Delandro and Carlo Bagulian and Steven Segovia, Figo Asio and Edwin Gallman are your artists. And I meet for the first time. I do not know if this is a new character. But it's Dakota City several years from now, and there is a character known as Beacon, and he's Static's protege. Not only that, he is the son of Rocket. So he's basically patrolling Dakota and doing what he's got to do. And he comes across a bad guy who's basically he seems to have escaped many asylums in the past. He'll escape another one with no problem, but then all of a sudden he kind of just there's this time stream storm that erupts out of nowhere, and Beacon and everything else kind of just disappears, and the rest of the issue is Beacon narrating this tale, and it starts off pretty much the same way that the Milestone universe kicked off, with Edwin Alva going to the mayor, and because Paris Island, the only neighborhood in Dakota that has a massive spike in crime, 20 square blocks that are basically just always embroiled in gang conflict. So Alvin and Curtis Metcalf, his right hand man, his number one, his mentee, they go to the mayor, and the mayor's like, yeah, okay, you've got this special gas that will leave a radioactive marker on those in this gang fight, and they'll be able to be picked up and incarcerated or what have you. So the mayor's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. But of course, that wasn't all that happened during what is now known as the Big Bang, and everybody's there were a lot of those gangbangers who were affected by the gas, and Alvin ends up framing Curtis as far as being the mastermind behind the gas, and he's the reason why so many died during the gang war. And then, of course, that's what causes hardware to be born. So all of this is pretty much the same, except Dakota is part of the DC universe proper, unlike back in the day when you had Worlds Collide and they were basically two different universes. Now it is part of the DC universe. So, and this is also the era of the late 90s, early aughts events with Lex Luthor as president. And so Lex, knowing that there's trouble afoot in Dakota because of all these metas that are there now, he enlists Amanda Waller, of course, Secretary of Metahuman Affairs, Sam Lane, Secretary of Defense, and Joseph Rock, Chairman of the Joint Forces. And he gets them all together, and he tells Waller to assemble a squad because they're going to go and handle Dakota, put the metas in their place, make sure they know who's in charge now. Almost like very similar to, as I'm thinking about it now and saying it out loud, similar to the Superhero Registration Act, because he wants no metas in Dakota. Basically, the established supers like the Justice League, they'll maintain the peace. They'll patrol. They'll handle it. We don't want anybody from Dakota using their powers. And obviously, there's 4 in the room: Static, Rocket, Icon, and Hardware. And Static is the only one who received the powers from the Big Bang. Icon, of course, is an alien. Rocket's powers are generated, and so is Hardware's. So I'm not going to go into specifics on the issue and how things shake out, but we get obviously the origins, the beginnings of Milestone and things that happen in Dakota have now shifted somewhat. Beacon is aware of this because he knows the stories his mother told him. He knows the stories his in air quotes uncle told him. His uncle being Virgil, aka Static. So he knows that things are different. That this isn't these events with the Justice League and with Luthor. That's not how things really happened. So he does make his way to his present, to several years from now, and it looks like this is meant to be a launching pad, a starting point to a new era or a new version, or at least like I said, a reboot of Milestone. And I'm if the handful of creators who worked on this issue are part of this rebirth, this new beginning, then I think they're in good hands. I hope, I do hope that that sales were good on this. I would love to see these characters back to where they were. Again, we've already said you can't go home again, but you can't, it was a special time. It was similar to lightning in a bottle. You just having McDuffie and Diggle and Priest and Illich and Count, having all these creators who knew how to get shit done and creating these characters of that time of the early 90s. In a world that was very similar to what Milestone represented more than pretty much any of the other publishers. It's going to be difficult you're not going to be able to recapture that magic, but if you can build on what Joe and company are doing with this issue, with respecting the past and reminding the old heads who were there at the beginning what this could be, I would like to be optimistic. So I was happy with this one shot. I think it was a fun enough story, but I am curious to know if anybody who I mean, we've got the compendiums. I think like the 5th volume is being solicited now also. So I mean, you can go back and read all those Milestone issues. I still dig them out of the quarter boxes when we find them. So I haven't spent the money on the compendiums yet. I'm also running out of space, so I don't want to. But I know that I'd be curious to know anybody who was there at the start, and if they read this, how they feel about it, or if they caught up with the compendiums, or they dug out for back issues, if they're a younger or newer reader and they weren't there at the start, how they feel about this. I don't know. It's a good jumping on point. I think if you've never read any Milestone, this would be a neat little primer and a good launch pad. But yeah, I'm always curious to know how other readers our age who were there when things started, how they feel about these kind of reboots and things like that. But this was a solid issue. I was really happy with it. I kind of dig Beacon. I want to know more about him. But yeah, I thought it was I thought it was a really, really solid retelling. I'm not. It was always difficult having DC publishing an imprint that wasn't really part of the DC universe, and then we got that really cool crossover. But it's always been difficult to kind of juggle Milestone and the DC universe proper. I mean, they tried it with Young Justice, and they introduced some of the characters there. You had Icon and Rocket show up. So yeah, I knowing now that that they're establishing it or reestablishing it or putting it in DC, the DC universe proper, that really can't hurt. So I'm hoping this is the start of something, and we're going to get more of it. I know the way things work, so it's hoping for the best but expecting the worst. But yeah, I'd like to see more of this. It was a solid issue.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm much more in the camp of getting back to our earlier discussion tonight. This to me is squarely in the you can't go home again. I mean, this week was the 15th anniversary of Dwayne's passing, and I think that with each year that follows Dwayne's death, I think this is like DC's like 7th or 8th attempt to restart Milestone, and I just don't know that you can go home again. I think because the magic of it was those guys, and I know Illich was part of it, so I don't mean to dismiss that, but like it was those guys in the moment trying to be black men telling stories about black characters at a time when there wasn't much effort to do so. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's a weird thing because, like you said, it's like a standalone. It reads almost like a free comic book day, in that it's a anthology of a couple short stories, but it's a bunch of short stories of characters that almost anybody picking this up off the stands wouldn't be all that familiar with unless you're an old head. And then it's like, well, what am I reading? A one shot with like 5 or 6 page story? Like, I don't know. It struck me as a weird. Like, if they're really in earnest going to try and finally make something of Milestone in the DCU, then I don't know. Like, this felt like a 0 issue to me. So yeah. But I like Valentine's art very much. I think we don't see enough of him. No. I think he's a terrific artist, and I think Alurtegi did the cover, right? And I think he's great. So yeah. So like I think it was fine, but like it's to me like the structure of it doesn't give me much hope that like it's going to create some sort of like newfound passion for Milestone, right? Like I kind of feel like those of us old OGs who always rep for Milestone are going to keep repping for it. But like, I mean, like to your point, I think I'd rather just revisit the archives, or like the reprints, right? Like personally. But yeah, but like a well executed comic. I don't mean to dismiss it. I did read it. It wasn't on my list, but I did. So I've been pretty critical so far, as I think we all have, of the Vertigo relaunch. Yeah. And we got another of them this week, which I'm sounding like a broken record, but can we stop with the long ass comic book titles? I mean, Jesus Christ! Like,
I know.
I mean, these titles are getting crazy. They're going to be like paragraph. Like by the time, if we're still doing the show in 10 years, they're going to be like paragraph long, like issue names. But this was The Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Cain Mystery #1. And on paper, on paper, this of the ones that we've gotten so far would be one you would think I would probably be least likely to enjoy, because it's a pulpy noir detective story. But as the world is an interesting place and you can never count on things being what you expect them to be, I think they finally have a legitimately good comic on their hands. I thought this was terrific. Now, admittedly, I think a big part of that is the creative team of Chris Condon is the writer and Jacob, son of Sean Phillips, is the artist, and they have now been working together for quite some time, and I think are forming quite a nice partnership of their own. It's kind of cool seeing Jacob like forming this creative partnership, kind of following in the footsteps of his dad in that way. Yeah. Now, I will say, I have thought that Jacob's been a really, from jump, I think Jacob's been a really competent artist. Because, again, I mean, he grew up, probably, sitting over his dad's shoulder watching one of the greatest of all time do it. So, I think, fresh out of the gates, he was very, very good. Like straight up a good storyteller. But I can't say that, in his early stuff that he did, I was, mesmerized by it. I didn't think, it was great. I just thought it was really competent and fine. But, I didn't think... I wasn't necessarily going to be there for the Jacob Phillips art, but it also wasn't a turnoff for me. But I think, as is just the normal course of getting better at one's craft, I thought this issue looked phenomenal. I think he was good from the start, but I think he's really starting to become better than good, and starting to feel like, whether it was subconscious or conscious, I thought that he was kind of initially aping his dad. Which again, there are worse things than to try and draw like Sean Phillips. But now I feel like he's starting to be more confident in who he is. And so there's still a lot of the same structural layout, pacing, kind of, and some of the visual tricks that his dad probably taught him there, and that's all good. But the finishing line and the cartooning are starting to look a little different to me, and I think that's great. And I was absolutely think the art in this book looked awesome. Salute to Jacob. I also think that for a first issue, I thought they did a cool thing. They set us up with straight out of Indiana Jones, opener where, Tomb Raiders find an ancient artifact, in this case called the Anvil of Hephaestus, and come to pillage it and to bring it back, and then there's these automatons, which may or may not be mystical, that are been there for centuries, that are fighting them, and it just was fun. It was fun. I wasn't expecting that in a noir detective story. And then we meet Ezra Cain, and he's a complex dude, and in this first issue we meet him. He gets pulled into not one but two cases, that both of which revolve around a theft from the museum in his city. And what did they steal? Well, they stole the Anvil of Hephaestus, and which we learn was Hitler had possession of it for a time, and then it had made its way to the U.S. So I thought it was great, man. I thought it was action packed. I thought that Ezra Cain was he wasn't he wasn't Humphrey Bogart. He is a 1940s detective. And it's a pulpy noir story, but he's his own character. He didn't feel like a placeholder for a character archetype that I've seen a million times. So I appreciated that, and I thought it ended on a really cool cliffhanger. So I thought it was great. I really did. I thought finally they got it. Finally, Vertigo got it right. So I have no idea if you guys agree with me or not, but I'm definitely back for the second issue for sure.
Did you read it, Vince?
No.
Because you hate pulpy detectives and Jacob Phillips.
No, I don't dislike either. I just did not read it yet.
Sure.
I
disagree. Oh shit.
No, I kind of got to echo you, bro. It's
Oh, okay. I thought you were about
yeah,
to tell
no,
me you disagreed. I was like, wow. What,
no,
like that, like up is down and down is up. I'm liking a pulp detective
I
noir,
know.
and you're going to tell me it wasn't good.
Set in the early part of the century. No, it's yeah, no, you spot on with Jacob's art. I really like the look of this. I mean, I enjoyed that Texas Blood. I enjoyed the work that these two have done in the
Oh,
past.
same. Yeah, no, I thought that was a fun, a good series.
so
Not
yeah,
fun's not
and-
the right word, but a good series. Yeah.
Right, and you know, it is like you said. It's if this is you know, Brubaker and Phillips 2.0, I ain't gonna be mad at that because Condon's telling some great stories. He's coming up with some great characters. It's I think I do like the mystery aspect of it. I like Cain as a character, which is
And he's a made-up character, right? Like he's not like some like public domain character that I'm just not familiar with. I assume he's totally
yeah,
made
I'm pretty
up.
sure Ezra Cain is a Condon and Phillips creation.
Okay.
I don't think this is some old DC character like Space Cabbie that nobody's ever written since then.
Right. Yeah.
It's it is a and yeah, and it's weird because it's I don't know if this is a miniseries and then we'll get another title colon an Ezra Cain mystery. So again,
I
we'll
assume
never
so.
get a short
right?
title,
I mean,
but
that's yeah.
it's a I think the setup with the whole, you know, the Ark of the Covenant, the whole idea of setting up the mystery and establishing the characters, and even the conversations that is, of course, I mean, my wife and I will watch old Turner Classic. No, that's redundant. We'll watch Turner Classic movies from time to time, and a lot of those, whether it's William Powell or Humphrey Bogart or any myriad of old gumshoes that Dashiell Hammett or anybody else wrote. It's very reminiscent of that, obviously. So this, of the 3 Vertigo books, or 4 if you count The Nice House, which I haven't read, this is the one that fit me best so far. I think I like the subject matter. I like the topic. I like the setting, and it's almost different enough because it wasn't things happen in this issue, but it wasn't action packed. It was a great setting things up issue, establishing the characters, getting to know who everybody is, the location, the type of personality Cain has as far as dealing with people, whether they're potential clients or clients who have issues, or even just the beat cop that he hasn't seen in a minute. You know, I thought all of it worked really well. And you know, Phillips does a great job with color. Obviously, he's been coloring his dad's books for a minute,
For sure.
but yeah, even his line work is great, and he does it. He isn't, you know, he's not just aping Dad. It's not like this is a Sean Phillips clone. He's got his own style, and yeah, and yeah, I even thought it took me a second because we get to the last page, and the woman says the brutal dark, and then I'm like, oh snap, that's the title, and then you turn the page, it's like, oh shit, that's the last page, and it was, but yeah, I'm stoked for the second issue. I'm looking forward to it. I'm almost kind of glad that they didn't release this on week 1, and then the next 2 would have just been massive letdowns, and we're like, wow, I really hope they didn't like blow their wad. But we had to get through those 2 to get to this. I'm okay. I'm not saying Vertigo's in great hands or, you know, the future's bright, but this was a fun issue. I will definitely be back for the second issue for sure.
Nice. Get on the fucking bandwagon, Vince. God damn it.
What have you been doing all day?
What else you got to do?
What came out yesterday, Vince? Come on.
Jesus.
Not much. These 2 books do pretty much the same thing, albeit in different ways. One was good.
Okay.
One was abysmal.
Oh, this is going to be good. All right.
Yeah. I'm not going to reiterate what you said, but Wade Wilson, Deadpool #1, written by Benjamin Percy, with
Yes.
art by Jeff Shaw, and color by Alex Sinclair, was
Correct.
pretty much like every Deadpool book I've read.
Sure.
Yeah. What both of these books do is drop breadcrumbs, right? They want you to spend the $3.99 or the $4.99, whatever it is, on that second, third, fourth, and fifth issue. We live in a period where writing for the trade is normal, but there's still a bunch of people who buy singles, right? As evidenced by the number of variant covers of this Deadpool. There are a number of variants, but in essence, it doesn't do anything that a Deadpool comic is not supposed to do. Like there are more questions than answers. Why is Deadpool taking all these jobs that are going to get the crap kicked out of him? Why is he dying? Quote most of the time, whether it being ripped apart, or electricity, or ground to butter or paste, the smashed oblivion. He's working for Hammerhead. Hammerhead hates him, you know, and he doesn't care that he doesn't get the purse for the job. It's like, wait a minute, you're letting me go? Kill him and take the money back. Kill him again in quotes, but there seems to be something that Wade did with his son, or didn't do, and he's feeling extremely guilty, suicidal. If Deadpool can be suicidal, and he wants to end it all, but he receives a series of letters that could only be written by someone who could tell the future, what's going to happen. I thought it was fun. I thought it was decent. Like Jason said, it didn't do anything other than what Deadpool comics do. You know, it's bloody, it's violent.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Exactly. Like it's Deadpool killing people and getting like killed, but he can't die, but like him getting mutilated and killing people.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like in a world where Punisher exists as a core Marvel character, like why Marvel decided, like, I don't know, like 15 years ago, that like they should just always have Deadpool like reticent to kill made no sense to me. Like, then just don't make Deadpool comics. Like that's his whole, like, that's the that's in his name. Like the very premise is that he is a fucking assassin. Like, either make comics where he can be an assassin or don't have him in the comic, right? Like, it's just, yeah. But anyway,
Right.
yeah,
Again, I think Shaw was on the mark. I think he
yeah,
did
yeah.
a really good job delineating Deadpool's. I hesitate to call them adventures. What happened to Deadpool? So I didn't get anything other than I expected, and what I expected was good.
Right.
Right. I read What Sky #1. Yeah, written by William Harms, with art by J.P. Mavinga, and Lee Lowridge is the and color. Again, breadcrumbs. How did the world? How did the world get in this state? what compelled a boat to be in the same physical space as a tank? What's up with that? Why is the girl still alive? Did, uh, are they demons? Because I believe yeah, she puts a layer of salt around herself, which protects her from the demons. Why? Who are these people? What are? What's the end game? Just to stay alive? Again, very similar to Walking Dead. Bort Sears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real though. For real.
I think that I don't care.
Nope.
To put
Sadly,
it
yeah.
in, yeah, to put it in correct parlance, I don't care. All the questions I have, I really whatever. Um,
Dude, I saw a pull quote, right? That
Uh-huh.
said fans of The Road and The
That's
Last
it.
of
That's
Us.
the one.
And I wanted to fucking set fucking Image headquarters on fire, dude. Like I was like, bro, like you're taking one of my favorite books of all time and an admittedly super good, at least to this point, adaptation of a video game that's great, right? And you're gonna like stop with the fucking elevator quotes. Stop, please, please. My soul is in pain. I can't.
it's okay to say no. Like,
Yeah.
why
Yes.
is it an image book?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It doesn't feel like an image book. Like it's just. It could have been. It could have been one of those little.
It feels like a Mad Cave book or
just
a vault book.
Yeah, I think that's doing both of those publishers a disservice.
yeah. You would.
Well, I mean,
I think
listen,
JP.
there's a hierarchy of publishers, right? Like, I mean,
There is. I think JP Mafinga, who's the artist, does his level best to draw dad like
Like Rick.
what the hell's his name? No, Braveheart.
Mel
Oh,
Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Mel
I
Gibson.
didn't pick up on that myself, but I'll have to go back and look again.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it.
I just disliked immensely.
Uh-huh.
I think the art is substandard. I think the story is like every story I've ever read. Uh, well, it's like a lot of stories. I've read most apocalyptic, and the writer comes in the back matter and write. It's like, oh, this isn't a dad story. This is a daughter story. We don't care. We don't. We really don't. So, like, it's again, not worth the paper on which it's printed. So why bother printing it? It like the backgrounds are unfinished on a lot of the work. The drawings is just okay. It is what it is. Why bother? Why bother? What's guy number one? It's a Tale of Two Comics, where the Wade Wilson, it was decent enough to have me come back for the second issue. I would run at the prospect of reading another issue of What's Guy. Please don't pick it as book of the month or
If there's ever come back.
because I would never go.
Yeah, we were going to bring Book of the Month back, but now we're not going to because we don't need to pick White Sky.
Yeah, in fact, again, I'm sure it'll get enough issues to complete a trade. But if it goes beyond that, like, why? Why?
This is the type of story that if Image wanted to do an anthology, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of this in an issue, that's fine. But there's just
Yeah, even
the
that.
elevator pitch was one thing, but all I'm looking at as I was flipping through the preview was there is, oh look, you got the San Francisco Bay Area and you've got all these cars and all these detail on these panels, and then you turn the page and it's just I understand it's white, there's snow, it's very barren, but there are so many pages and panels with absolutely nothing in the background, just the two characters talking. Just so this could have been a black and white book. There's not even no reason for color. It's
Bro,
It
literally
was-
nothing happens either.
it
Like,
wasn't.
I know
it wasn't.
it's okay to say no.
nothing happens.
I know. There's just
And plus, they're father and daughter, and there's like the whole like ghost
Braid her
moment where he's like
hair.
straddling her. Like it's the whole thing.
yeah, that was
You
weird.
have-
That was weird.
You have one chance.
Yeah,
To-
in today's market, you got one chance, right? That's why we would say, like, I've know, listeners and supporters have said sometimes, occasionally, like, do you guys think you talk about like too many number one issues? And like, it's always fair to hear that, but like, I think part of the issue is because that's kind of how the industry works, right? Like, the first issue either is going to get you to keep on going or not, and so it's just like inevitable to talk about it, right? Like, it just feels like we want to help you, kind of like guide you, because there's a lot, like, number ones are just a thing, like, and it's like,
Yeah.
get
It's
on
like-
and get off, man.
It's like heavy metal. Again, it's okay to say no.
Yeah,
Half the stuff is quote garbage, and half the stuff is ranges from okay to great. It's like it's really not that hard. If it means dropping the page count by 52, X amount of pages, you drop the page count. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's all right.
for sure.
Yeah. So read Wade Wilson Deadpool if you're looking to see people get killed in novel ways. If you see what, run.
Run, Forrest.
Yep.
So as I teased at the start with the with our special spotlight with the Deep Space Nine omnibus. So if you're not familiar, and I'm pretty sure the season's more than half over at this point, Starfleet Academy has been airing, and I think it's a fantastic show. I was kind of hoping that that'd be something that, like Smallville, my father and I could watch, but I don't think he was really feeling the first episode. And he is, if it's not the original Trinity, he kind of just like he kind of zones out. It's like it's not for him, but whatever. So we'll get around to it. But I'm absolutely loving Starfleet Academy, and once we're done here tonight, I will be watching tonight's episode. But a couple weeks ago, there was an episode where one of the cadets, she goes by Sam, she's the first of her kind to be a member, to be a cadet at Starfleet Academy, and so she considers herself an emissary, and she's been instructed to, or ordered to. She has orders to follow from her people, from her planet, from where she's from, and she has to. She's trying to enroll near towards the end of the semester in a class, and there's what catches her eye is one of the topics for this class is to find out the mystery of whatever happened to Benjamin Sisko. And every episode of Starfleet Academy, I've I'm like, this is a great episode. And then I watch the next one. I'm like, oh shit, this is even better. And it keeps going up. But you give me an episode that has any connection to Deep Space Nine, and you've just catapulted to nothing's going to touch this. So I'm watching this episode, and I am absolutely in love with it. And we even see Sirach Lofton, who, if anybody who's watched Deep Space Nine, he played Jake Sisko. He played Ben Sisko's son. And I do get a little bit of a tingle every once in a while, because they'll sometimes reference, or you'll see a ship, or you'll see Captain Nog's name, and Nog is also from Deep Space Nine, and that's a whole different thing, because the actor Aaron Eisenberg, he died a bunch of years ago, and unfortunately, so that's just sentiment. But seeing Jake, a grown-up Jake, on Starfleet Academy was just mind-blowing. And I get a message on the Slack from Jason, because he I don't remember how it all started out. We were talking about the different spin-offs over the years, and how Voyager is, of all the Treks, as good as some of the episodes could be. It's my least favorite of all Star Trek shows. No shade, no. It's just, if I were to rank them, that one's not near the top. So Jason asked, well, should I haven't seen Voyager. I haven't seen Deep Space Nine. I don't think you've seen Enterprise either, but there's nothing from start to finish, as rocky as the first season is, from start to finish, for my money, as much as I love Discovery, as much as I'm enjoying Strange New Worlds, Deep Space Nine it's my favorite. But in my opinion, and obviously everybody's mileage will vary, is the best Star Trek series. So if you're asking me, what should I go with? I'm going to suggest, with the caveat of, once you get past the first season, it's smooth sailing, especially in the later years. But I'm always going to suggest Deep Space Nine. I mean, it's Tomio's favorite, so that should tell you right there. But Jason has now started it, and we haven't had really a chance to discuss anything about it on the Slack. But this is, since I'm not talking about Superman, I got to talk about one of my other loves, and so I'm going to talk about Star Trek right now. But yes, I've been curious to know how you're getting about it, and how you're feeling about the show.
Well, first of all, let's start with a reminder that, because this is definitely a generational shift. When you try and go back and rewatch a show that's like more than 10 years old, it's a big commitment.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
No, it's a big commitment. I mean, Deep Space Nine was on for 7 seasons, but it had 176 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, a Netflix series that runs 7 seasons is like 50 episodes. It's like it's a much different ask. So I'm not even through season 1 yet, and I've watched like 20 episodes. So,
okay. Yeah.
And I've been peppering you a bit with like little things here and there about like, I mean, look, I think it's fair to say, and part of it is because it's an older show, but part of it is probably, again, at the time it came out, budget. The early episodes are definitely low budget, right? There's a couple set pieces and they're not exactly like wildly adorned, and it's almost like it almost reminds me in some ways like a stage play. But you're getting to know the characters, and I think that Avery Brooks, who plays the captain, Ben Sisko, he and my understanding is he's a Shakespearean actor by trade. Like before all that, like there was his roots. He way overacts in the beginning. Like I think he's trying to figure out who the character is and like what he's supposed to be about. Almost to the point of being comical. But already even like 2/3 through the first season, like I can see that settling down. Like everybody's starting to figure out who they are, like what the characters are, their sort of their MO, their approach to things. So it feels like the characters are starting to feel more comfortable and with each other as well as for the viewers. I think that Renee, I don't know how to say his last name, but Auberjonois.
Auberjonois.
I think, yeah, his character's great. I was teasing Dap because like he's a shapeshifter in the show, and dude's got like it's you gotta like some things you gotta laugh about, like Star Trek, like it's just funny because like 90% of the species in the broader infinite universe are like humanoid. It's like very, very convenient, but but obviously get a contrivance of the reality of there's only so much budget, so you have to make them look like humans with some prosthetics. But Renee's character is a shapeshifter. He's got like his baseline form is like a like a liquid, like goo, and he has to basically like go back to that form every 14 or 16 hours, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And that's brought into the story. But like, I find it funny because dude can literally like Wonder Twins into like a rat or like a table or like a lamp, but like he can't like look fully human. Like it's just funny. Like things like that you have to laugh at because you're like, wait a minute, like if you like, why can't you mystique it? Like, why can't you look like perfectly like the best looking human ever? But no, I think it's fun, man. It's fun. And again, part of my embarking here so far is a belief in what you've told me, which is that the show gets progressively better in terms of the plots and the the effects and it really finds its footing. So now, like we were saying earlier, with like a single issue of a comic, it's a big ask to ask someone to get through like 22 plus episodes of like a Growing Pains season, right? Like that's a big ask in today's day. And I probably wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for the fact that I've been loving the Paramount modern Star Trek stuff, like full stop. Like I think every bit of it's been awesome. And also that I know DS9 is your favorite of the well, I guess they're not new anymore, but like of the like next generation shows, no pun intended. And and since you said, as you noted, since Starfleet Academy has ties to it, I figured it would be a good chance to sort of dive in. So far so good. I'm going to keep it in the rotation. I look forward to them having a little bit more budget so they can actually go to like some places that look different. But again, part of it is that this show is premised on being on a space station versus like exploring different worlds. So I mean that is also part of the contrivance, is that they like most of the action takes place in the same building. So I get that too. But yeah, so far so good, man. It's fun. It's Star Trek. Like I feel like you either love Star Trek or you don't, right? Like there's a certain pastiche to Star Trek that I hate Doctor Who, you know that. And part of that is because I think Doctor Who is like jankily low budget. Like it's like I can't with it. I would argue that like Star Trek is like right above the line, right? Like it's never going to be like Star Wars or like it never is going to feel like it's like they had to put $100 million budget together to make this stuff. But it's over and above line enough where the creative way they approach it and stuff, it's like it feels like cool enough, And what the one thing that's weird to me, Dap, is that this came out like toward the tail end of Next Generation, and I feel like Next Generation looked more high budget to me. Like
yes.
So okay, so is that, you think that I was wondering if that was just my memory playing tricks on me because I watched that back at a time where I wouldn't have noticed as much, or if it's just that like that was high budget and then they wanted to spin off and maybe budgets were tighter. I don't know like what prompted the downshift in budget at first, and then again I presume the fact, like you said, it went on for almost 200 episodes. I presume they eventually get the clearance to start doing some more things visually. So
it's the effects and the uniforms got much better on Next Generation as it was nearing the end. And yeah, I think the last and first seasons overlap. The same thing with Voyager. I think
Picard's
Voyager,
in it, and Picard's in the opening, and Picard killed. I guess, well, spoilers for a 30-year-old show, but Picard, when he was a Borg, killed Avery Brooks's wife.
Yep.
So yeah,
and so I mean, off the rip, Sisko is not a fan of Picard, regardless of the fact that he was locutus at the time, and he wasn't in possession of his faculties. It's like, still, man, you killed my wife. As I'm rewatching it, because I'm like, well, I don't need you to go through this alone. I forgot how close. I mean, zero personal space. When two actors have to share a screen, when it's a 4:3, because it's before widescreen, and you're filmed on film, I forgot how they had to try to cram every head into a scene in a little square box, and it's almost off-putting seeing people that close trying to have a conversation. But yeah, I'm excited for where it goes from here, because it's obviously, anybody who understands the conceit of Star Trek, it's the whole, we explore and we go around from world to world, and we're not forcing ourselves on people. You got the whole Prime Directive, and we're just going around to Class M planets that have warp drive technology, so we don't interfere. But it did take a little getting used to, because also at the same time, UPN was airing Babylon 5, which is also taking place on a station, and so there were, and that's a JMS show, and there were comparisons of the two. I never got into Babylon 5, so I can't speak on that. But the what's great about Deep Space Nine, because it did take place on a ship, on a station that isn't moving all that much, and events and situations had to come to them, that it got a lot more into political intrigue and aside from the politics and some of the Starfleet things going on, but you're just coming off a war that the Federation stopped between the Cardassians and the Bajorans, and there's remnants of that. So I like that it was obviously Trek, but it was different enough. But the entire cast, the crew on this station, all coming together, all working together as you watch them grow and just become a unit. It's just it's great to see, and yeah, we saw that on Next Generation. There was a bit of a blip because Beverly Crusher disappeared for a year, and then she comes back, and there were other changes. Of course, we lost Tasha Yar, and Geordi gets promoted to engineer. So we've seen growth there as well. But yeah, I just think to have something new like Starfleet Academy reference something from 30 years ago, and not just throw it away or an offhanded mention, but to build an episode around it and just remind people of that show. And if they hadn't seen it, now maybe they're going to check it out, because obviously you just have to scroll over a couple of boxes and you can find another Trek show on Paramount Plus, so you don't have to go far. But my heart grew 3 times that day.
Yeah, and now I was a little disappointed to find out that Worf doesn't join until 4.
Oh damn! I was hoping you wouldn't find out. I was hoping you wouldn't find out.
No, I remember, which is why I looked. I was like, oh wait, I'm like, when does he join? But I was like, oh damn, I got like 100 episodes until he joins. But okay, that's fine.
Well, yeah, because it's by that point, Next Generation was over. So,
right, yeah. I feel like, Vince, have you never watched much of the stuff? I mean, you watched the Picard stuff. You watched the Next Generation. I know you were into like the Picard show and stuff. Did you watch any of these other ones? Because I watched Next Generation religiously, and then I didn't DS9. I didn't watch Enterprise. I didn't watch Voyager. So I had this big gap, and then I was totally back for the Paramount stuff.
I watch it with diminishing returns. Obviously, the original series is my favorite.
Yeah, you are old. That's true.
Yeah, like Next Generation's okay, pretty good. Deep Space Nine's all right. Like as it goes on, I check out more and more. Where I've seen maybe 5 episodes of Voyager.
Until like you watch the Picard shows, because we talked about those.
Yeah, they're okay, but I don't have the reverence for the Next Generation that Dap does. I love
that. To me, that's mine, just because like I watched the old school with my dad when I was young, because Like he loved the original when it was coming out, and so like I got love for that too. But like I for me, Next Generation's my thing. Like that. That's like that.
And it should be,
Yeah.
but it's okay. Yeah. I would never in a million years read unless it was tied to something like the Legion or Green Lantern or something that I knew better. I would never read a Star Trek comic, even the original.
Even the ones drawn by Tom Sutton.
It's interesting because a bunch of them actually made the meta list this year, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, no, what it is. Why bother?
Why not?
Because there's millions and millions of things to read.
Well, if they're good, I mean, what is it like? Like that's the thing. Why read a Star Wars comic? Why read a Transformers comic or a Mass comic or like because they're like if they're good, they're good. Like and you like the characters.
Well, there are a number of reasons. Being that they're tied to people like yourself, like Mask, or then you read it. It's only 4 issues, or it's whatever it is, 6 issues. Big deal. I'll read it, but to read hundreds of issues is like no.
I know, but like I feel like Star Trek comics, at least for the last 20 years, have been miniseries, right? Like IDW puts out like a miniseries,
Yeah,
and then
I don't read them.
I know you don't. What I'm saying is, I don't understand the like. I would never read like. I feel like we read lots of like
there's
based
no
on IP that we enjoy. Like I don't like.
There's no attraction for me.
No, I take that at its face, but I'm saying you said it in a way of like, what would be the point? I guess like the point is because it's good, like because you enjoy it. Like I mean, again, if you don't enjoy it, that's one thing. But like
again, how good is it? There are millions, literally millions of comics I could be reading.
Sure.
Whether I'm not going to waste. That's the wrong.
What I'm saying, but I feel like you're mixing metaphors here. Are you implying that there's not been any good Star Trek comics, or are you implying that you're not interested in Star Trek comics? Because they're very different things. You love Rick and Morty comics, and I could make the same argument. Like, what the fuck are you reading a Rick and Morty comic for?
Exactly.
When you cartoon or time, right? Or like. So my point is I think it's one thing to say I've tried Star Trek comics and I don't think they're that good. Ergo, I don't read them. Versus, I don't see the point in reading Star Trek comics. Like the point would be if they're well done. Because you enjoy the characters and the stories, like which I feel like half the comics we read and talk about are, like again, IP of some other form that we either enjoy or don't enjoy.
But the point being, there's no attraction there to get me to read it.
Right. So I'll just chalk it up to meaning you're not a big enough Star Trek fan beyond the original series.
No,
expanding the IP intrigues you.
It works like that with Star Wars too, where if it's original cast, chances are middling that I'll read it. If it's Dr. Aphra or the Knights of the New Republic, I won't read it. I won't. The one I did read was Legacy, and I loved it because it had ties to the original series, ties to all the different, but it's few and far between.
I'm sure the blueprint of all of this makes perfect sense to you in your head.
I'm sure it does, but the chances of me reading a Star Trek book are slim to slim.
I think I'm going to start talking about Star Trek books each month.
Go ahead. I would never ever stop you from talking about anything.
Obviously, I'm not a frequent reader of Star Trek comics either. But that being said, I have heard reasonably good things about the last few years worth of them.
Yeah, like
from beyond DAP. I'm saying
IDW is doing Below Decks. Awesome. It should make a lot of people happy. That's all that matters to me. It's
There you
that
go.
there's people out there who are enjoying and reading and loving these comics.
Yep.
I'm not one of them.
Right, right.
Yeah, but I would never take it away from someone who does do all those things and more. Like, get anywhere you fit in.
That's right.
Yeah, that's all it is. Cheapgraphicnovels.com.
That's right.
Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Thank you very much for sponsoring this show. OGN Street Paperbacks, Omnibus, DC's finest Marvel Epic Collection, manga. If it has a spine and a retail price, they're going to have it, number one. Number two, it's going to be far below retail. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com, 11 o'clock comics. No apostrophe. And 2 tiers. That's it. $5, $10. Big deal.
Easy.
Easy peasy. And leave this review where you read this and where you listen to this. It matters. It pains me. It kills me that it does matter, but it does. Far be it from me to ask you to just do something. It's ridiculous, but it does matter. So leave us a review. And while you're out there, this goes back to there are not enough hours in the day. Because if I read this in time for my 11 o'clockers, my votes would be much different.
Okay.
But I didn't. I read it after the fact. And it pains me. It hurts. Because, again, my list would be very different. I keep an eye on this creator. Whatever they publish, I will buy sight unseen because I think they're to the scene, SCENE. They're a vital voice of newness that is sorely lacking in the proceedings. It's by Moa Romanova, and it's called Buff Soul.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me mad in a way that I didn't read it early enough, but I get struck by it now, so it's all good. Essentially, what Mo is doing here is chronicling her exposure to addiction. The addictions of someone she loves, and it so happens that the some kind of band singer songwriter. It doesn't really matter. What she does is she takes risks, meaning the object takes risks she doesn't have to because she's addicted to substances. She acts out in ways she doesn't have to. She puts herself in situations that a person would not get themselves in were they not addicted to substances. Like, where were you last night? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? How could you not know? But she has feelings for this person, whether or not they're romantic is beside the point. She was once exposed to someone else who struggled with addiction, and she didn't do what she was supposed to do. And I don't want to phrase it that way. She didn't do something to change the outcome, right? And the person ended up killing themselves. And she works under the auspices of that in a relationship with this person. It makes you feel guilty. Number one. Number two, it's not an easy thing to watch someone about which you care destroy themselves. You know, and but Soul is more of the same. It's strange because Moa draws extremely grotesque figures. Whether she draws the head too small and the body too big, like everybody looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah, and but that's beside the point. The point being that it's on the one hand it's very hard to read. No one likes to see someone destroy themselves. I'm not gonna spoil it, even though it came out in 2025. But I will say that had I read this, my list would be very different because I think Romanova is a cartoonist of incredible quality. I
Yeah, I like
think
the line a lot.
she, yeah, I, I, and there's no pussyfooting involved in this graphic novel. It's sometimes hard to read, very very difficult. So know what you're getting, but you need to read it nonetheless because I think it's phenomenal. Published by Fantagraphics in a hardcover format, 29.99, and I think it's worth every penny and more. Moa Ronoma's Buff Soul. I love it.
Beautiful package too. Like
Yeah.
the
Well,
package of the book as well.
yeah.
Hmm. Nice
Fantagraphics,
little die cut action. Yeah, it's nice.
yeah, did the same thing with Goblin Girl and other Romanova books, where
Hmm.
the front will be foil and glitter and embossed and debossed and there's just no kind of like Silver Sprocket on steroids, where it is Fantagraphics. So if they like what you're doing, they'll roll out the red carpet for you.
You
And this,
know this.
yeah, and this is more the same. Where I think that this is warranted. Like I'll said many times, Romanova is one of the most vital, different voices out there, and I think you should be reading it, and others.
Cosign. Yes. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yep. It's weird. It's strange at which to look, but once you get a beat on what Romanova's doing, it's not so hard to look at anymore.
Hmm.
There's nudity and there's drug use and there's self harm and suicide and all that stuff, but all that stuff is included in the addiction. It's not a nice thing to say, but it's true. So you're hit. Best soul.
Cosine. In your travels, it's been a minute since mentioned this book. But issue 17 of Absolute Wonder Woman came out recently. It's the second chapter of Season of the Witch, and issue 16 introduced a Suicide Squad, which was led by Zatanna, who was on the cover. In 17, not going to spoil anything, but Zatanna looks fucking wonderful. But two, Diana ends up facing off against Giganta and Cheetah. Dr. Poison returns after Diana said, I don't want to see you messing with these people again. There's Zatanna drops a name that the person whose name she drops is not pleased that the name is out there, may have been overheard. But I haven't really seen Diana kind of in this position before, courtesy of Zatanna. And, but once that gets straightened out, more or less, the action picks up. Diana's magic is in full force. It reminded me of Homegirl from Runaways, where she can only say the phrase like one time, and that works for that. And it was a fun issue. I liked it a lot. This is shaping up to be a pretty interesting arc. I think I'm not jumping ahead. I'm not trying to guess where Kelly's going with this, but Barbara doesn't listen, and that's going to be an issue down the line, I feel. But aside from worrying about Professor Minerva not doing what she's told, this was fantastic, and again with another great cliffhanger, because even 16 leading into 17, I was concerned about Diana, and I'm right back at it here again. And this last page, and her arm is messing with my head. But yeah, in your travels again, as usual, Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, and Jordi Belair.
Respect. Always gotta show the love to one of the best series around.
I figured I knew you were going, so I didn't want to step on your toes.
Okay. No. I reread the entirety of the Department of Truth. The series has had a meandering path to get to where we're going, in the sense that came out hotter than fish grease, and then for reasons I'm not quite sure of the why, but after issue 22, way back in November of 2022, so 3.5 years ago, they went on hiatus, and they didn't come back until June of 2024. So 19 months basically of no Department of Truth, and I feel like, at least in terms of the buzz of the series, that really hurt it, because I feel like everybody was talking about the book until that point, and I feel like very few people have talked about the book since that point. I continued to get the issues. Well, the trades, actually, I buy the trades, but I had and I had read up to like 27, I think, no, maybe 25, but even that was back in 2024, and it just had gotten away from me. And so, it is. I mean, we've talked about the series before. It is a very complicated series, to say the least. This is not a series that you can casually check in and out of. And I love the series, but I will say that it is a fair criticism of it. I think this is a big ask. You need to commit your heart and soul to the series and focus on it if you're going to read it. This is definitely not one where they're suffering fools. They are expecting you to have very, very good retention of a lot of convolution. And the very nature of the series is what makes it so difficult to follow casually, right? Which is that the whole premise is that if enough people believe something, it becomes the reality of the world. And depending on the thing we're talking about, like, it depends on how many people need to believe it. Like, and again, we don't need to revisit our early praise for the series, but long story short, I've now read through issue 33. I realize issue 34 is 34 and 35 are already out. I just haven't read them. But I think there was a 0 issue there too. So I think I have to read zero issue, 34th and 35th issue. But they are all start of another arc, so that's why I read up through 33. But it's still an amazing series, man. It really is. I don't know that I'd want it to be less complicated, because that's kind of the nature of the beast here. And it's just much like they did early on, they continue to do where every couple issues you'll get like an interstitial X-Files type of standalone episode where like there was a Marilyn Monroe issue, there was an issue about like the Black Hat Man and like so it's they're doing a good job of touching on different conspiracies from different parts of US history. I think it's phenomenal. I really do. And I think that when Martin Simons isn't doing the issues, they've had a really impressive collection of guest artists. Most recently, Leticia Caranici did a couple issues, and I think it's awesome. I would love for it to be more broadly read by our crew, so we could talk about it more. But again, I get it. It's a big ask, and I don't think, like, had I not gone back and reread it from issue 1, I think I would have felt pretty lost trying to pick it right back up without that. So I understand it's a big ask, but I do think it's one that rewards your effort. So yeah, so in your travels, if you've never read it, all the better, because you can just start fresh. But if you have read it and you lapsed, I think it's worth jumping back into it for sure. It's still remarkably good. So, Department of Truth.
Agreed.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, do you due diligence, please, because he needs it. So good night. Ben Templesmith is coming on for a few issues.
No, I know, but he fits the mode of the series, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, does he though?
No, he does. I mean, like if there's a series that fits his style, it's this one, because like he's in that Pearson Simons camp of like it's the same kind of work.
And James will write a story for him, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I'm not a huge Ben Templesmith guy, but I've read comics by Templesmith over the years that I've enjoyed, so I don't view that as a problem until I see evidence otherwise. I mean, look, this series has been a struggle for you from the start because you don't really care for that type of art. I mean, we had to beg you for a year and a half to read it in the first place.
I think it's a conversation that we'll have either over drinks at a convention or somewhere along the line on the show, where it's not so much Martin's art. I don't think he's as good as Tiny Onion is a writer. So there's that. But I think it should be read. It's a good series.
It is.
It is, yeah. I think he should be cutting a check to Sienkiewicz.
So should Rob Rice.
Yeah, we've talked about
it. David.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Well, I know, 2 minutes, right?
It's over 2 minutes.
I forgot.
I'm just going to say good night, add 2 minutes, David, and we'll be good. Because I'm not going to have people sit in silence. Having everybody talk over 2 minutes. So, yes.
It works.
Love you all.
Look at this. Look, ...
That's right.
Have a good
Love your
cruise,
ellipsis.
Vince. Enjoy the islands. Enjoy the rum punch and the all-you-can-eat
forget us.
buffets.
Am I not going to be here for the thing?
You just told us that. You just said next week you're going to be.
When
on
are
the
you
cruise.
leaving?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you let us know when you're leaving, and then we can try to figure out what we can record.
I'll let you know. I'll
Keep
let
us
you know.
posted.
David.
Oh, good Lord. Thank you for listening, everybody. You could have been listening to anything, but you listened to this, and for that, we appreciate you much. Read comics. Read comics. Come back next week. Wish Vince a bon voyage, and we will be back for 1024.
No doubt.
That's it for that one.